Whether you have just started weaning your baby onto solids or maybe you've been doing so for a while, I bet the prospect of choking has been something that's been playing on your mind, because let's face it, it plays on all of our minds, especially when our babies start to wean onto solids. But there is something that you can do, and that is to be prepared. When you start to wean your baby onto solids, they will obviously be sitting in some form of high chair. But does your high chair have straps, and do you use them? Because in my personal opinion, using the straps, unless your baby is a climber and they're going to try and climb out of the high chair, using the straps is actually going to impede helping your baby or preventing your baby from choking if they start to. And that's because, of course, the straps are a faff to get undone. So it's actually easier to be able to whip your baby out of the high chair very quickly if they don't have the straps done up. The next thing you need to be aware of is the difference between gagging and choking. Now, choking is silent. That's something that we don't always think of when we think of choking. We think of making a noise, that kind of a noise. But actually, that is, unless it's a partial choke where something is just slightly blocking the airway, choking is actually silent. So that noise is more likely to be your baby gagging, which is something that babies do a lot. Babies gag when they start to eat because they are learning how to use their mouth, to move their mouth in the correct way and use their swallow reflex to eat food. Babies' gag reflex is a lot further forwards in their mouth than ours is as adults. And that means if they put something in their mouth and it goes just a little far back, they will automatically start to gag and make that noise in order to eject the food from their mouth. It's a really clever thing that our bodies have developed over time to stop us from choking. So if you hear your baby making that sound or like a choking sound, especially if they are bright red in the face, that's another classic gagging sign, then you actually really need to try and sit on your hands and not do anything. And that's because if you try to go and fish the food out of your baby's mouth when they're making that sound, then you might push it further back into their mouth, which then of course means that they might start to actually choke. So remember, red and loud are the classic signs of gagging. Wait a few seconds, you will see most likely your baby eject that food from their mouth. If they are silent and if they are turning blue, and if they're a little bit older and they have a look of fear on their face, or maybe they're even gesturing to their throat, then you know that something is definitely wrong. So what do you do if you know that your baby is choking? Of course, the first thing you need to do is lift them out of their high chair if they're there. And then what you're going to do is lay them over your arm, and you're going to support their chin and head with your hand like this, in this shape. And then you're going to have them on your arm like this. Now, obviously, if they're any kind of weight, then you want to support your arm. You can rest it on your leg. For the purposes of this video, I'm not going to, just because that's too low down. And what you're going to do is you're going to try and tilt your baby at a downward angle, because obviously we want to try and help get the object that's lodged in their throat out, and gravity will help us to do that. So you're going to have them facing forwards, and you're going to have them on that slight downward slant. So here's your baby facing downwards, and what you're going to do, if you can see the square on this baby's back here, that's where you're aiming to hit. You're going to use the base of your hand here, and you're going to hit them on their back. It's called a back blow. So you're going to hit them in between their shoulder blades, and you're going to do it hard, and you're going to almost push forwards as you do it. Now you need to make sure, of course, that you're not going to slip. You don't want to hit your baby's head. Try to make sure that their chin isn't tucked too much either, because we need space obviously in their airway for that object to come out. So what you're going to do is you're going to do one back blow, and then you're going to check, you're going to check to see if the object has come out of your baby's mouth, because obviously if it has, then you can stop. But if it hasn't, then you want to keep going. So let me demonstrate now how you're going to do that. 1, check, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did you see how hard I was hitting my poor little baby here? You do have to hit them hard because you need that force to expel the object from their airway. If you don't hit them hard enough, then it's not really going to do anything. Back pats won't work. So you do need to be rough. It's better to give your baby a bruised back than obviously for the worst to happen and for them to choke and stop breathing. So you do your 5 back blows. if that doesn't work, then what you're going to do is turn your baby over onto their back. You need to keep them still in that position, supporting their head, and you want them slightly leaning downwards. And then you're going to do thrusts with your fingers in between. Now let me show you here. I'm going to take off baby's top. You're going to go in between their nipple line. You see here where this patch is? So it's basically the central point of their chest. And you're going to push with your hands, again, slightly forwards, because you want to try and push that object out. Baby is on a downward slant so that gravity is still helping us. Again, you can rest your arm if your baby is any kind of weight, because it will be heavy. And then you want to push with your fingers. Push forwards. So you can see how I'm pushing slightly forwards and quite hard. And again, each time you want to actually be checking. So you push and check to see if you can see the object. You need to do 5 back blows, 5 chest thrusts. And if the object still hasn't appeared, then you can go back to doing your back blows again. And you can do that cycle 3 times. Now, of course, ideally we want to see the object before then. If you start to see the object in the corner of their mouth, please don't be tempted to push your finger in and try and hook it out, because what will likely happen is that you'll push it further in. So if it is there, you can give them another little gentle back tap to get it out. Obviously, if it's right on the corner of their mouth and you're able to brush it off, then that's fine, but we don't want to try and push things further in again. So you need to do 3 cycles of the back blows and the thrusts. If by that point the object hasn't come out, then it's tricky to think about, but by that point your baby will be unconscious and not breathing, so you will have to start CPR. And I will do another video on that, so make sure you keep subscribed so you don't miss out. While you're doing these back blows and chest thrusts, you also need to be speaking to an ambulance. I would give it 1 cycle first, just to make sure that you can't get it out by yourself, so that you can give all your attention to your baby. But if you haven't, then grab your phone, put it on speakerphone, have it next to you, unless you're not alone, of course, and then get somebody else to do it. That's always the better position, because then you can completely concentrate on the baby. And call 999. They will be able to talk you through things. If your baby does go unconscious, they will be able to talk you through CPR. And of course, they'll dispatch an ambulance very quickly to you. So after all of this and the object is out, your baby is likely absolutely fine. You will be traumatized, of course, but your baby will be absolutely fine and probably will just go about their normal daily business. Of course, if they don't, then that's when you need to seek additional medical advice. But in fact, I would advise that you take them to see a doctor or go to a walk-in clinic or even A&E, just to be checked over anyway, because you have been doing back blows, and if you have been doing chest thrusts, certainly, because, you know, babies have very tiny bodies and we don't want to have accidentally pushed or pulled or shoved something that we shouldn't have done or that can cause them problems further down the line. So you just want to get everything checked over. Please never tip your baby upside down and try and shake the object out. My mum told me that she did this when I was a toddler and choked on a plum stone. And she's told me that story many times over, and I'm very grateful that she was able to save me from choking on that plum stone. But tipping your child upside down and shaking them is obviously not a really good thing to do. Babies' brains are incredibly sensitive, so we want to try and avoid that. If you have an older child, then make sure you stay tuned, because I'm going to be doing a follow-up video to this one, because there's a slightly different move. So stay tuned, subscribe so you don't miss out. Something that we worry about with first aid, and understandably, is that in the moment we're going to forget everything that we have learned. So I want to share with you an app that I recommend to the people that come on my in-person postnatal courses, and it is the St. John's Ambulance app. It's available on Apple and Android. This is not sponsored, by the way, and I'll put a screen grab up now. It's an excellent app to use because it's really simplified, all literally black and white, and it has all the titles there for you to easily, instantly access what you need. And then it talks you through each step of whatever action you need to perform, whether it's choking or whether it's CPR for an infant or a child. For more infant first aid tips, then make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, because I am going to be bringing out more videos like this. I also have several already over on my Instagram account, so I will link that down below for you if you aren't already following me. Thank you for watching this video, and I will speak to you all again soon. Bye everybody.